Okay, so for example number 1, Mokhtar and Chantel are playing a die and coin game. Each turn consists of rolling a regular die and tossing a coin. Points are awarded for rolling a 6 on a die and or tossing heads with the coin. So when you toss a coin, you can either get a heads or tails. So those are the different outcomes. And then when you roll a die, you can get the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what we want to do is, they're telling us that in this game that you get 1 point for either outcome, meaning you either roll a 6 on a die, or in this case, you toss a head. So these are the outcomes we actually want. Oh, and then there's a 6 on a die. So those are the outcomes we want when we're actually doing this for us to get points. Any other outcome doesn't give us points. So you get 3 points if you get both outcomes, meaning you get a 6 and a heads occurring when we do both of those items. And 0 points if neither outcome happens, meaning on the actual die you get 1 to 5, or you roll or you toss a tail. So players alternate turns. The first player who gets 10 points wins. We want to figure out the probability of Mokhtar getting 1 point, then 3 points, then 0 points. So let's start with 1 point. 1 point occurs when you get either outcome, meaning you get a 6 or you get a head. So if you get a 6, that means that you would get a tail, because that's only one of the outcomes happening. So this is one of the outcomes happening. This is where you get 1 point. The other outcome, or the next case, would be if we rolled a 1 to 5 and a heads, because a heads is the tail, is the outcome that we actually want. So we're going to figure out the probability of this happening. Now this is an independent event. So this is an independent event, the reason being, if you toss a coin and roll a die, those outcomes do not affect each other. So if you roll a 5, it does not affect if you get a head or a tail. So these are independent trials. They do not affect each other, so these are independent. So rolling a 6, there is only 1 6 on a die out of 6 total options. And then that's what this word is. And means you multiply. For tails, there's 1 tail out of 2 outcomes. So that's one case that can occur. So we're going to calculate that and get 1 out of 12. Now we still need to figure out when we get a 1 to 5 and then a heads, because that can also give us 1 point. Well, there are 5 out of 6 times where you can get 1 to 5 out of a total of 6 different trials. And means multiplication. For heads, there's a 1 out of 2 chance that you're getting a head. So that gives us 5 out of 12. Now with the word or between them, we always add these answers. So that means we're going to have to do 1/12 plus 5 over 12, which is equal to, the bottom is the same. We always need common denominators when we add fractions. And then we add the tops, which gives us 6 over 12. So we can put this into our calculator. And if we add these two numbers together, we get 0. Or if we divide these two numbers, we get 0.50. So that's the probability of getting 1 point. Now we're going to go on to 3 points. 3 points occurs if you get both outcomes, meaning you get a 6 and a head on the actual coin. So a 6 will occur 1 out of 6 times. And because of this word, multiplication, there's a 1 out of 2 chance that you're going to get a head on a coin. So when we multiply them, we have a 1 out of 12 chance of getting 3 points. So that's equal to, if you divide them, 0.08. And lastly, we want 0 points. What's the probability of getting 0 points? Well, 0 points will occur if you get a 1 to 5 rolled on the dice, and you get a tail flipped on the coin. So these are the outcomes we don't really want, but that's going to give us 0 points. So 1 to 5 will occur 5 out of 6 times. And multiplication, there's a 1 out of 2 chance time that we're going to get a tail. So we multiply them together and you're going to get 5 over 12 because we multiply the tops together, bottoms together separately. And then if you divide that, you get 0.42. So these are all our probabilities. Now verify our results. How we know we did this properly is we're going to add in all those box numbers. So this was our probability of getting 1 point. This was our probability of getting 3 points. And this was our probability of getting 0 points. If you add these all together, you're going to get the answer of 1. And that's how we know we did this properly, is because all decimals and all outcomes should add to 1 if you're in decimal form. So if they add to 1, you know you have all the situations, and that means that is correct. So this is correct because of that. Okay, so that's it for our lesson. So for 3.6 independent events, you just have to figure out, are the events affecting each other? If not, then they are independent, which means we can multiply and not have to worry about one fraction affecting the other.